Hello there! Happy Sunday to you all! Today I will discover the history of Finnish tanks. I mean, Finland is definitely not a country that you will imagine being associated with tanks, you know, with the production of military equipment. So yeah, come on, this is gonna be very interesting, I'm sure. Let's check it out right away.
Finland is not well known for its arms manufacturing prowess, and there's a reason for that.
That's what I said.
Before the mid-20th century, the government simply didn't have the means to develop the industry. And during the Cold War, political complications arose. Historically and geographically, though, Finland could not really remain truly neutral. After the events of the Winter War and the Second World War, the country found itself between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, squeezed between two massive geopolitical blocs. During the Winter War, Finland had to make do with a small fleet of Western tanks and a small number of vehicles captured from the Soviet forces. For instance, in 1938, the army purchased British tanks of the Vickers Mark E series. Just a few years prior, it seemed like a solid buy due to its combination of firepower, mobility, and low weight. But by the time of purchase, it was already visibly outdated. At the very start of the war, the Finnish Armored Corps only had the Vickers tanks that we just mentioned, and some old Renault FTs. But as the war went on, the Finns captured a few valuable trophies.
Bro, what? Renault, the car company, used to produce military tanks. Wow, that's crazy.
Including Soviet T-28 and BT tanks. The Finns appreciated the firepower and mobility of the Soviet medium tank, but were not too happy with its armor arrangement and the high fuel consumption rate of its engine. Despite that, the T-28 became the true star of the Finnish armed forces, and BT tanks were soon converted into SPGs, called BT-42s. These distinct vehicles, armed with a British 4.5-inch howitzer, were used against infantry and enemy fortifications. Later, during the Second World War, Finnish forces captured and converted several KVs and T-34s. As before, they quickly found their place within the Finnish ranks. Tanks of the KV series, practically impervious to fire from anti-tank rifles and low-caliber guns, were basically moving fortresses of the early war period, and Finnish T-34s also performed very well. The Finns kept both of them in service right till the end of the war, even after Germany provided Finland with Panzer IVs. After the war, Finland found itself with the wildest assortment of armored vehicles at its disposal, including some tanks that were of no use in modern combat whatsoever. It took the country roughly 10 years to start reforming their fleet. Initially, the Ministry of Defense was interested in the British Comet tanks, but it looked like they were already on their way to follow in the footsteps of the Vickers tanks. During the last years of the war, an upgraded 17-pounder was definitely a force to be reckoned with, but in the late 1950s, it was a completely different story. That's why the Finnish military decided to compensate for the shortcomings of one British tank with the strengths of another, and purchased a number of charioteers, another tank based on the aging Cromwell. It wasn't British tanks that interested Finland the most, though. Finnish decision-makers considered various potential conflicts and confrontations, from fighting Soviet forces on the side of the North Atlantic Alliance to engaging Western armor on behalf of the Socialist bloc. In the end, Finland decided to purchase dozens of Soviet T-54s and eventually T-55s as well. They were still decent vehicles for the time being, and came with distinct Soviet strengths. Finnish T-55s remained in service for decades and, closer to the end of the Cold War, received an upgrade package that brought them up to modern standards. They were fitted with the Swedish Bofors fire control system and received a potent 100mm APF SDS round made by Belgium. Tanks of the T-54 and T-55 series became the backbone of the Finnish fleet of armor. Their chassis was also used as a base for the British Marksman anti-aircraft system, developed by Marconi. It featured two Oerlikon cannons, guided by a powerful radar and optical aiming devices, and could hit targets at a distance of up to 4 kilometers. In War Thunder, we have a modernized version of this SPAA. a marksman
That's
turret
crazy.
on the Leopard 2 chassis. One of the last additions to the Finnish fleet from the Soviet roster were tanks of the T-72M series. During the turbulent times of perestroika, and especially after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Finland made moves to switch to the services of Western defense contractors, but they didn't abandon their Soviet inheritance completely. For instance, the Finnish BMP CV-90 is armed with both an American Bushmaster cannon and a coaxial Kalashnikov, and the T-72 was only decommissioned in the 2010s. More modern Finnish vehicles have a distinct NATO flavor: German Leopard 2s, British SPAA systems, and French Crotale missiles for short-range air defense modules.
This one looks so damn cool. I mean, even this one, though, it looks so cool.
At the same time, the Finns replaced the Soviet BTR with a vehicle of their own design. This is the Patria AMV. It's worth noting that this modular military vehicle is not only used by the country of its origin. A list of its operators includes Poland, Sweden, Slovenia, and several other countries. In War Thunder, you can find a variety of Finnish vehicles in the Swedish tech tree. And when we say variety, we mean it. There are armored vehicles for any kind of combat situation and any taste. What do you think about Finnish armor? Share your experiences in the comments below.
I don't know much about tanks and military weapons, so yeah, that was very interesting to learn about, but I didn't understand too much. I gotta be honest with you. So if any of you is an expert on this matter, please explain it to me in a simpler way so I can gain some new knowledge. And we definitely need to keep on reacting to the Finnish military because it's insane. It's so powerful and it's really cool. It's really cool. I want to know definitely more. So yeah, I really hope that you did enjoy watching my video. I wish you all a lovely rest of your Sunday and I'll see you in my next video.